Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/TrueOffMyChest, where OP discovered that her sister was desperately trying to have an affair with her husband. Let's begin. I'm cutting off my sister after she tried to add my husband on Instagram. Posted by Reddit user Immediate Employ.
I have finally made the decision to cut my sister out of my life because she tried to follow my husband on Instagram. For some context, my sister and I never had a great relationship. I idolized her growing up, and at times she was nice and sisterly to me, but we have different dads, and she made it clear at a young age that she wished it was just her, our mom, and her dad. She blames me for their divorce. My sister was definitely my biggest bully growing up. She'd beat me up, although I think most sisters did this, and she would always make fun of me for my looks and personality. She would also intentionally get me in trouble by pretending I attacked her, or she'd throw herself into a wall and start crying for our mom saying I pushed her. There were a lot of other things she would do, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, when we became adults, she went off the rails. Dropped out of college twice, lost a lot of her friends, started partying and doing drugs, and just became a bit of a mess. I tried to support her as much as I could, but she never wanted my help. She would try to flirt with my husband by bending over in short dresses without any underwear and attempting to sit on his lap. This all made him uncomfortable, but I kind of let it slide considering her mental state. I regret that, as I should have taken my husband's feelings into account. He hated her, and still does, and whenever we have family events, he tries to distance himself from her. To give a brief history of the past 10 years, because I could go on forever about the things she's done, she teased me relentlessly and told me I was boring after I was diagnosed with multiple heart conditions. She admitted in a drunken state that she intentionally sabotaged social situations so that I feel outlasted. She threw a beer bottle at my head, and when I made her leave the room so I could clean up the mess, she told everyone I was mean to her and made her sleep on the couch. Then when I told them what really happened, she said I was drama. She got drunk at my bachelorette party and tried to make it all about her. And then after my bridal shower the month before my wedding, she told our whole family that my dad, who I was eagerly looking forward to walking me down the aisle, sexually assaulted both of us as kids. This is not true, but of course she waited for me to leave before telling anyone, so I couldn't tell everyone the truth. I've continued to keep her in my life because I love her and don't want family events to be awkward. But recently, out of nowhere, she deleted me off of Instagram and Snapchat. I thought it was strange, but then her friend requested my husband, and I'm honestly just over it. This was my last straw. I think I'm just done with her. I know it's such a small thing to cut someone off over, but I just don't have any more fucks to give. Edit. Wow, I wrote this as a way to vent and maybe get a couple of opinions. I didn't realize the traction it would get. I'd like to address a couple of things. 1. I really appreciate all the support I've gotten on here, and the advice. I am so sorry for all of you who have been in my shoes. I wish that no one else had to experience this. Thank you all for the helpful tips and telling me to stand strong. In moments of weakness, I'll refer back to those comments. 2. People have been saying her actions sound like a sexual assault victim, and you're right. She was sexual assaulted as a child, but it was actually her dad's side, and she's always had a weird relationship with him. This is probably why I gave her so many excuses for a lot of her actions. But when it comes to my dad, I know she wasn't assaulted because she said it was only at night, but we had bunk beds and she was the top bunk, and I was an incredibly light sleeper. If she moved, I'd wake up immediately. Also, in recent years she's been kind of known for lying about abuse, which is why most people didn't believe her when she accused my dad. And honestly, I've been sexual assaulted as well by past boyfriends and babysitters, so if it weren't so blatantly untrue, I would have believed her. 3. Yes, I realize it took me an ungodly amount of time to do this. I feel horrible reading the comments about what a bad wife I am to let her do that to my husband for so long, but those comments are valid. I should have cut her off years ago, but I definitely have mommy issues and was desperate for my mom not to be upset with me. For those asking, I actually have discussed this with my mom and pointed out that her relationship with her sister is similar, but she blew up. She gets really defensive when it comes to my sister, and others in the family have tried to say something but were shut down. People definitely tiptoe around her. Anyway, I'm not going to anymore, and you are all right. This wasn't fair to my husband and I should have cut her off a long time ago. 4. I'll try to update this when I confront my family, and in the meantime, I'll try to answer any questions you all have.
OP, why the hell is your sister still a part of your life? You should have cut her out years ago. I think spreading sexual assault lies about your own father would definitely been the last straw, but apparently not. Your husband definitely deserves an apology from you for making him go through that bullshit. I'll definitely be looking out for your next update, man. Good luck for now. And now for today's second story. My mom is cheating on my dad. Posted by Reddit user Extreme Honey.
My dad is a great dad but a bad husband in the sense he cannot do housework like most dads can and lacks common sense, which aggravates my mom. For example, throughout my childhood he would go out every weekend, get hammered and leave my mom to deal with him. Even if it was a small gathering, he would get pissed. She gets annoyed and always tells him to control himself, but he cannot argue properly. He just says, "Oh, you're overreacting." So they can never hear each other's perspective. So all their arguments were just nothing of substance and no points can get through to my dad. She stopped caring for him years ago, but COVID was an exception. But he is a nice friend and dad. My mom is very dominant in the relationship and does all the handiwork or calls people to do it. She is very independent and cannot and won't rely on anyone. My dad left her no choice. She is quite stubborn and impatient but is caring to me and my sister and always provides and cooks us healthy stuff. My dad does too, but less often. However, she is not emotionally there for me like my dad is. Some of this info may help you guys understand why she is currently cheating. And no, I don't justify it for those saying I am. Here is all the evidence I collected of her cheating. Men's shorts on our shoe rack. Coming back late every day from work. Usually comes back at 8 p.m., now 9 p.m. and even 10 p.m. once. On that day I called her countless times and when she picked up, she said that the buses broke down and she was waiting whilst I heard her in a literal car, parking a few blocks down our street and walking to our house. I caught her coming out a car whilst riding my bike. This is unusual as she takes the bus home and wouldn't let her friends just drive to our house. Downloading fucking Viber. First, who uses Viber? Secondly, she only has one number on it with frequent calls throughout the day and no messages. Once her phone glitched and I saw her say, "I'm in the car park," and deleted. It was saved as Kelly and she doesn't know a Kelly. My dad needed her phone to connect the home cameras to his phone and she stood next to me like a hawk. After she asked me if I gave him a specific number and if he asked for it and I said no. She covered it up by saying, "Oh, I'm just wondering because I've been making new friends." The next day I sent her a paragraph asking if she was seeing anyone and I listed the evidence. She came home really disappointed with me, but after she understood why I thought that and apologized and said she wasn't seeing anyone and Kelly is just a friend. I didn't believe her, but that was enough crying for the day. Then today basically confirmed it for me and I'm super upset. She came home late. Then I heard her laughing with this guy and when she saw me, she ended it immediately without saying bye. I said, "Why didn't you say bye?" And I said, "Call him back." She hesitated but called, but he didn't pick up. He must have got the memo. This made me so suspicious, and she clocked, so she started rambling about the ceiling needing to be fixed and that she was on the phone to someone that she thought could help. I said, "Let me speak to him then." She went downstairs and then came up minutes later and called the guy, but I was busy. When I was free I said, "Call him." She got visibly angry with me and said, "What are you doing?" Then I said, "Put him on the phone," and he was just like, "Yeah, I can't because." Whilst he was speaking I went through her phone and I saw she deleted the number she called earlier. I remembered the first half of the number and it wasn't the guy I was up to or in her recent calls or in her Viber. She deleted him off Viber after I brought it up to her for the first time. Then I ended the call and said, "I know you deleted the number," and stormed off. Normally she would shout at me for being disrespectful, but no. Silence. She knew I knew that she was hiding something, and this is my only explanation. Help.
OP, you caught your mother cheating on your father and have evidence. It's not solid evidence, but it's good enough to rouse some reasonable suspicion. You've done enough, young man. Tell your father and let him deal with her bullshit. But you're still kind of a dickhead for trying to justify why your mom would do this, even if your father wasn't a good husband. If she wasn't happy, then she should have just left, not started an affair. There is zero excuse for infidelity. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.